Welcome back to the Renegade Report. I'm your host, well, at least for today, Stephen Lynch, sitting in for Francis Mayer. For you that don't know me, Francis calls me the official statistician of Bakersfield College Athletics, but I prefer to call myself the head statistician since I can't do the job by myself. I have people that help me with that. So anyway, we're second segment. We're here with men's golfer Brad Chamberlain. Welcome to the show, Brad. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me, Steve.
So talk a little bit about how's the season going so far. You guys, how long have you been going and how many tournaments have you played thus far and how are things going?
So far we've had 2 conference matches. We had one at Valencia and then we had one at Alisal this last week. They weren't too great. We had really bad weather the first tournament. We had about 40-mile-an-hour winds off of the get-go, and that definitely played a factor. And then we had a real nice day in Alisal on Monday, and we kind of struggled a little bit. But our team definitely showed improvements after one tournament, and that was good. So it's good to have season underway.
Now, how are you playing personally? I mean, how are things going for you?
They haven't been going too well. I had a really rough tournament in the wind. That's not my forte. If it's windy, I'd normally try and just keep the ball low, and I couldn't get the ball low. I played well at Alisal. I didn't roll the ball as well as I would like to, but I definitely hit the ball better than the first tournament, and it was good to see that progression happen.
You said that you told me in the green room that the season was very individual early on. What did you mean by that?
This year we're not as stacked as we were last year. We're not always fortunate to have studs come in like some of these other schools who actually go out and they will almost have a recruiting program. Individually is what most of the schools will look at. You have very few schools that will compete very well as a team, and so individually, a lot of golfers strive to do their best and make it onto area or regionals or state as an individual instead of such as a team, and it comes a lot easier than it does as a team most of the time.
But golf is one of those sports where you can be a little bit selfish. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but because by playing the best that you can up to your capability helps the team, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely different from most sports. While you feed off of your teammates if they're playing well, it's also an idea of, okay, no matter what anybody else is doing, I've still got to work on my strengths and make sure that I'm focusing on my golf game instead of worrying about what somebody else is doing. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you are a team and you guys come together and whatever you shoot is what you shoot and you go on to the next tournament.
Now, where did you play high school golf
I played at Frontier.
Yeah, you look familiar now that you say that.
Yeah, I played under Nick Kaiser at Frontier High School.
Yeah, and has it been a big? I mean, you're still playing the same 18 holes. Is there much adjustment going to the junior college level?
It's funny you say that you're playing the same 18 holes because there are so many different golf courses. So many different guys design these courses with the idea of, okay, this could be a fun round or this is going to make them rethink whether they want to keep playing high school or college golf. It's definitely different the more places you travel. A lot of places we go to are very expensive country clubs where they used to host tour events, and so they're very, very difficult. But it's different to be in the college level. There is a little more pressure. You've got standards as being the number one on your team to hold those standards. And when you go out and have a bad first round and a bad second round of your season, you kind of start getting eyeballs down the back of your neck and it kind of starts sending chills and you're doing your best to work with it. But at the same time, you've got to let the pressure release and then go back and settle down and start over the next week.
But you are a sophomore, so now do you feel like you've improved a lot since last year?
My first tournament did not show any improvement. My second tournament showed kind of on the right path that I'm going to as I'm dropping shots. I hope that I get to toss out my first 2 tournament scores and that the rest of the season will just be a breeze. But I don't feel that will happen, so I'm just going to have to keep grinding and keep my head screwed on straight.
Yeah, see, I grew up in Alaska where we didn't even have high school golf. We had a 9-hole course that was open for about 4 months out of the
Yeah,
year.
sounds about right.
So how often do you get out? I mean, year round. I mean, you must. Most golfers I know, it's something that they play year round all
Yeah.
the time. I mean,
I'm normally playing 3 to 4 times a week. And if I'm not playing, I'm hitting balls for at least 2 to 3 hours, and then I'm working on drills for another 2 to 3 hours a day after that. So, I mean, it's almost like a job. It's hard to throw in another job with job and school and family and all that. So it's definitely a test, but it's a good test. Feels good to have it under your belt.
talk about your game. I mean, what are your strengths and what are the areas you think you need to work on? I mean, what type of you great off the tee, or are you better with your short game, or
I in high school I really benefited off of my length because we were in Bakersfield so often. A lot of these courses are a driver and a wedge versus these courses in college. Now you're having to rethink, okay, I can't hit driver here. I have to hit iron, which leaves you a completely different golf game than what you had in high school, because now you're hitting medium irons off the tee and then medium irons into the green instead of having your driver in your hand and your wedge and being comfortable. So I would say my strengths have been my tee shots lately. I've learned to hit multiple clubs off of a tee. And then recently, Brittany has been having us work putting drills for hours a week, and they've really started to pay off. So I've seen an improvement there. My short game is still definitely probably the shakiest part of my golf game.
well, my short game is the only part of the game that I'm so bad off the tee that even though my short game's terrible, it's still better than my long game. So that's so you guys. It's a long season, right? I mean, how many matches do you have?
I believe there are 9 or 10 league matches, and then we have, I believe, regionals, or we go conference finals, which we're actually hosting in Bakersfield this year, and then we have regionals if we qualify after conference finals, and then hopefully state this year if we can get something magical going. So,
And do they have individual tournaments too, or do you?
they're all team tournaments, but at the same time, you're logging individual scores. At the end of the season, they take the top 8 players, and if you're in the top 8, you automatically advance to regionals. However, if you're not in the top 8, you have a chance at conference finals, which is kind of my advantage because it's in my backyard. And should I not be in the top 8 by the time season rolls or by the time conference finals rolls around, I have pretty good confidence in myself that I can knock it out and make it to regionals at my home track.
So what is your home track?
Rio Bravo Country Club. It's definitely a long hitter course. You've got to be longer off the tee. You've got to be straighter. The greens are very fast. They're very undulated, and it runs people's scores up. We've definitely seen that in the past, and we're looking forward to having a pretty good turnout and see what everyone's going to bring to Rio. So we're pretty excited.
Nice. So where do you guys practice the BC? I mean,
Right now we're practicing Wednesdays at Stockdale Country Club. Thursday is normally a range day to kind of go about what we did on Wednesday, what can we work on, and then Friday we'll go back to the course and play with the stuff that we just worked on Thursday, and we'll kind of just run through that drill bi-weekly or every week and see how it goes. So far it's worked out pretty well. Seen a lot of improvement in the guys.
yeah. So do you guys do you have a pretty good team? I mean, are a lot of local guys? Because I know there's a lot of great local high school golf here in Bakersfield.
Yeah, right now we're kind of actually in between seasons. Golf is actually really funny how it works. You'll have about 4 years of strong golfers, and then you'll go about 4 or 5 years without any, and then you'll have about 4 or 5 years where they reappear again. And right now we're kind of in a stretch where we didn't have much to appeal from in the high school aspect. A lot of kids either got picked up or went out of state or just had better offers. Our team's okay. I'm not going to say that we're the greatest, but I'm not going to say that we're the worst. There's definitely room for improvement, as always, but with every team, there's room for improvement. So,
Now, do you hope to take this and play a 4-year school after you finish up here at BC?
I would like to. My goals I set for the beginning of season were to make regionals and then play well at regionals and make state. And I believe if I make state, I will have a chance to go to a 4-year. As it sits right now, I'm not currently looking anywhere. I'm kind of just going about my major and playing. It has been in the back of my mind, and I have been considering going to a 4-year after this.
Yeah. Any schools that you're looking at or?
I mean, CSUB's always at the back of my mind. It'll keep me close to home, and it would be nice to graduate in Bakersfield. But at the same time, I would like to be input somewhere else rather than Bakersfield for the rest of my life. So I would like to go somewhere in Florida, or I would like to go somewhere in Washington. I know it'd be tough with snow every now and then, but that'd be cool. I would like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice. I know I grew up, like I said, grew up in Alaska. And I went away to school at Azusa Pacific. It was nice. I mean, it's nice to be at home, but it's also nice to get away and experience some things away from home too. And that's great. Well, congratulations on a great start to the season. I mean, I know you said you're not playing as well as you want, but I'm sure things will turn around for you soon, and you guys will you'll do just fine. So anyway, we're gonna step aside here for a break and thank Brad for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back in just a couple moments.